Yeah, that was good.
Let me. No, I should take my necklace out too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You want
Oh,
me to
thank
put
you.
it on?
I could just hold it. It's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
So tell me where we are and what we're doing here.
Okay, so right now we're at the new school, and there's a camp out for the Free Palestine Intifada. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I was kind of surprised when I first walked in. I'm pretty sure it started last Thursday, and it started in this main building, and then it moved across the street to 66 East 5th, and there's students who are, I guess, supporting the Intifada, and I'm not exactly sure if they know what it means, because if they did, I doubt it would be continuing on. It's kind of intimidating, that's for sure. Like when I walk into school, I don't put my necklace away, but I definitely don't engage with them. In the beginning I did, but I thought it was a little unproductive because like they're so narrow-minded for the most part. There are selective few people who will engage in conversation and want to learn more, but only on one side, not really on ours. So I just put my head down, I walk into these buildings 4 days a week, and I go to classes and come home. Yeah.
I feel like as a Jewish person, like, we have a very clear history of like every single like anti-Semitic event, like before the Holocaust, after the Holocaust. Like we know, like my family is in Israel, like they know suicide about everything's going on, and I just don't think that people really have that same knowledge, and like what they're supporting like ends up emboldening a lot of those kind of things, and it is pretty scary. And like Intifada, like revolution, there's only one solution. I just think of the final solution. Like it's just not like. Has anything else happened to you on campus or anything like?
Honestly, no. So I started in the business major, and no one really in the business major is politically charged, so they don't know and they don't care.
Fill me on this.
Okay, sure. But then when I go upstairs and I engage in my classes, I try my best to speak about Israel whenever I can. Like, I'll say, oh, I was just in Israel in the shuk and I was buying coffee, like something so unrelated I'll mention just to see their reaction and see if they're interested in learning more. I speak to my teachers about it. When October 7th happened, I remember speaking with my professor, and like she tried her best to help me out and vice versa. And then now I speak to my classmates about it whenever I could. I really just try talking about it as much as I can, because that's the only way. I think it's not productive to get in front of a mob and start screaming at them like some people do, because I understand it's frustrating. We're all frustrated, but doing that is not going to help. So.
What do you think the most important thing for people to understand is?
That we all want peace. At the end of the day, we really do. Like it's kind of sad because like they're screaming, they claim they want peace, but then they're screaming Intifada revolution. Like it's a contradicting statement, because if they knew what it meant, like again, like they would not be saying it. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, yeah, you're right. And tell me about your necklace and what you're wearing.
Okay, so I got these both from Israel. I was there December to January. I went on a mission trip, and I visited, I went to military bases, and I went to homes and communities that were on the border that got hit on October 7th, and I spoke to people. I heard their experiences. It was gut-wrenching. It was a life-changing trip, and I'm never going to take this off, because it's a constant reminder of what happened on that day, and it's a constant reminder to keep going, like regardless of what's happening here, because like I know the truth, and because I witnessed it and I saw what was happening. There were so many people who lost their jobs, lost their families. Like, it's so ridiculous. And then these people are like coming in with like their musical songs and like pretending like everything's okay and chanting here and like making it like they're doing something and making a difference. Like, making a difference is just to, I don't really know. Like, it's hard to feel like you're making a change when you're so far away. But when I was there, I felt like I was doing something, or at least doing my part. And yeah, so I got these in Israel, and I'm never taking them off.
Nice. What do you think is the truth?
What is the truth from what happened that day? Okay, so, well, the Gazans or Hamas attacked us on October 7th. They killed thousands of people, from the festival to the communities, and it took a really long time for Israeli military, the IDF to come and save everyone. So a lot of people suffered the consequences because of that. And then the war broke out. We didn't initiate the war, but we declared war after they initially attacked us. And I think people are turning it into like a revolution of freeing Palestine versus what it really is that Hamas attacked us and we're just defending ourselves. We're not doing anything more. If we continue to do this, then like maybe eventually, I don't know what's gonna happen, but what I do know is that what's that famous quote from Golda Meir? If we put our guns down, there will be peace. If we put their guns down, there'll be peace. If we put our guns down, there will be no more Israel. So, like, I think about that all the time. As much as I want peace and as much as I want this war to stop, I know that, like, this is, like, the only way of, like, keeping Israel afloat and keeping it a state.
I'm trying to think what else. I think you're doing great. I think you're saying a lot of really important things. Did you cry on that day? Like, what was like, when you first saw those images?
I definitely did cry, but it was like more of a shock and disbelief. Like, I couldn't imagine like a human is capable of doing something like that to another human. Like, despite all the history we have with one another and like all the tension that's been building up, like it was like I had no words to describe it. I was mute the entire time. Like, I walked around. They had the festival in the museum. They laid everything out, like of how it was, and they brought like real cars that were burnt down, and like the camp areas where like people were mutilated and like burned to a crisp. It was really hard to see. It was, but thank God, I had like a really strong group with me, and every single day we recapped and like expressed how we felt, and it didn't really. I mean, it helped because it brought us closer together, and it like we were all on the same page, and we felt safe. But like we were all helpless together. So yeah.
I remember seeing like kids being kidnapped into Gaza. I remember crying. I was like, what do you mean? How is this happening? Like, you just like woke up and it's just like, what? Like, what is going on? It really was insane. It's really insane. It's just like, we couldn't believe that like the military didn't stop them from getting in. Like, we felt so safe, and then suddenly, the worst that they ever did was shoot rockets that we just knocked down. So it's really sad. So what are they doing now? They're like protesting. What else has been going on campus? Like, what else have you seen? And like, what are we looking at now?
I see a sleepover. Like, I see people who side with the underdogs, and they believe one person, and they're all sheep instead of like actually looking into the information and seeing what happened on that day, or like what's going on right now. I'm not going to deny that what we're doing in Gaza to the civilians there is right, because it's not. It's wrong what we're doing, but I still like there's no. I don't see another way in like approaching this war, because like we need to protect ourselves, and like I think in my eyes, like they're protesting about humanitarian rights, and I I'm not exactly sure. They just want everyone in Gaza to be safe and to stop being oppressed and to stop the barricades for food to come in and water and resources, which I definitely agree on, but like the way they're approaching it is not like is so unproductive.
Right. What else do you think is important?
What else do I think is important? What else do I think is important? Like my country's safety. The fact that they came into our country to begin with shows that there was like there was something wrong in like our borders and like something needed to change. So that I think that's very important. The government, the Israeli government or the military, like I don't know who you want to blame, like someone slipped up on that day because I've read somewhere or I listened on New York Times or something that we found that Hamas was planning this for many, many years and we knew about it and we still didn't do anything. And that was the most frustrating part because like we were aware that they wanted to do these things, we just didn't think they were capable and clearly they are because it happened.
They've been brainwashed for a long time. I remember when I was in Israel in 2011, I worked in a media organization there. We were actually making a film called Iranium. It was all about the nuclear program there, and then the Arab Spring happened, so it kind of went under the radar. People didn't like focus on the film so much anymore. But I remember watching stuff coming out of Gaza, and they had like a Hamas, like Mickey Mouse, like character who was like killing Israelis and like, or was killed by Israelis or what, and they were they had like a news report with like little kids in hijabs, but it was like a Sesame Street room, but they were talking about death and all this stuff, and it just seems like in the world the way it works is like we can't be an aggressor, you know, and they already think that Israel is the aggressor, but it's like we have to wait for these terrible things to happen to do something, you know, and that's a shame, and I really hope there's going to be something. What do you think the solution is?
What do I think the solution is? For the war to end. Like, I mean, for us to find the hostages and the war to end. That's the solution.
Can you say something on that? I feel like every Jew is so hurt and offended when people call this a genocide, because I think every Jew that I know, every year, you talk about once a year at least a Holocaust survivor. Mm-hmm. Once a year go to a lecture and there's a meeting, we say never again, and we want to support all people and this, that, and they're calling it genocide, like as if it's our intention for this to happen. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
Well, it's not. Like for thousands of years, like we've been the oppressed nation. We were sent into exile and like we didn't have a home, so we're constantly bouncing from place to place. And like my father, he was born in Syria and he never speaks about his experiences there because I'm assuming it was because he was so traumatized, you know. But we were on a family trip once and the rabbi of the shul, he approached us because like he'd never met a Syrian Jew before, and he asked my father to speak about his experiences there. And this is the first time I was ever hearing this, like 19 years of knowing him, like I never heard it. And he was speaking about how he was like basically in a refugee camp. Like there was officers on like, when you go past like a 4-block radius, you have an officer that stops you and won't let you go until you show proof of ID for our safety. That's what they were saying. It was to keep us safe, but it was a refugee camp. It was a ghetto. Like they were just trying to like keep us all in one place. And then in 1992, when the Jews were able to be set free from Syria, my dad came to America, but a lot of his family went to Israel because like that's where they thought it was a safe place to be. And like it's sad that like some people don't feel like that anymore because of what's going on. Like it's supposed to be our country to keep us safe, but it's not right now.
I feel like Zionism, like when people say, I always felt that growing up, Zionism was the belief that I would just one day go home, like the inspiration to like one day move to Israel. I moved from New Jersey to New York. I'm also Syrian, by the way. Are you Halabi or a Shami?
I'm a Shami.
Shami? Nice. that's just what it meant to me. It meant I'm gonna go to Israel one day. Like maybe I won't have enough money or whatever, but it's the dream to like go back to Israel. And now it's like Zionism bad, Zionism bad. It's like, but I don't feel like they're defining Zionism the way that we do. How are they talking about Zionism? How is that different?
Honestly, I don't know exactly what their definition of Zionism is, but to the best of my knowledge, it's that like we want to kill everyone in Israel, like whoever's not Jewish, so like we could take the land for ourselves and like create genocide. Maybe like I'm not speaking facts, but like that's based on what I'm seeing. If they equate Zionism to what do they equate
Fascism?
to fascism, then like that's what I think their definition is, which is entirely false. You know, like if they're saying death to Zionism, they're saying death to Jews.
How do you define Zionism?
Right of Jews to their own state.
What breaks your heart about this whole thing?
That people aren't educated. Like they don't know. Like they're following a crowd. They're not like reading up on what's actually happening. I think like that's the saddest part, because like we all want peace. We really do. Yeah.
Anything else?
That's all.
I think that's
Thank
good.
you.
Want to be interviewed?
For who?
I'm just getting interviewed. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything. Like I'm just getting like people's reactions. I feel like this is a very historical moment, and I just want to get perspectives. Okay.
Here you are.
So some of the art is like indirectly geared towards what's Let's just take the computer. Yeah, lights on.
Lights on, yeah. So that's like so people know that it's going. You could block it, but they actually made technology so it knows half the time if you block it. But I think it's fine. People are always filming with their phones anyways, so it's like colonialism. That might be something, but here's I don't know if that's just a general thing.
Yeah, and like they rip down our posters every time we put up.
Yeah. Such a cool school. I remember wanting to come here
You wanted to come here?
at some point. Yeah, I was like looking into it.
I'm assuming you're not in Brooklyn College anymore.
I'm not in Brooklyn College anymore. No, but I have my alumni card.
Yeah. What did you major in?
I did documentary film. Yeah, and then I went to Israel for a long time. I lived over there. Yeah. I was like in yeshiva for a while. What's that? Oh, okay. Nothing over here. All gone? Okay, well it looks like both are all gone. Like both sides are all gone. Like I don't think that, like, I mean, and the pants. The pants are those pants. Wow, and he's wearing the thing. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. Wow. This is at the new school.
Oh my. 'Cause, like, I don't like crazy. Me. I think it's too much, but I was like, cover over the curtain. No, it's like, whatever. So I kind of like, so I just took a show like, show up, whatever you do. No, it's like, whatever. So I, yeah. Just to show like, show up, whatever you do. No, it's like, whatever. So
any means. That's the scariest thing, the by any means necessary sign. You know? All right, well, thank you so much. And, not the other entrance? Oh, okay. Yeah. When do you have your next class? Occupied space. Is that actually real? Like, what does that mean? Like, is that actually an occupied space?
Like this room?
Yeah.
I've never gone here. This is the archival space.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
New school, you can't hide! Don't do what you for genocide! Don't do what you for genocide!